you've got suspense and you've got action, and I've found a good combination in the two Terminator films was to have a suspenseful build-up to an action release. In Terminator 2, you have a slow, tense build-up of these characters moving around, closing in on the young John Connor, and then he sees the Terminator for the first time, and it's all in slow motion. I like to use the slow motion in the build-up, where it has this kind of protracted, dreamlike or nightmarish quality, and then there's a cathartic break, and then it kicks into gear.
Get down.
Chase, something is going right or something is going wrong, and you want to accentuate that. Rhythm is one of the ways you do that. You also want to create peaks and valleys in terms of rhythm.
Chases are a wonderful thing to work on as an editor. I wouldn't want to do them as a steady diet, but every now and then it's great fun. My favorite chase that I've ever worked on, actually, was the canal chase, as we called it, in Terminator 2.
Our ancestors were survivors, therefore we're here. And so there's something plugged into our reptilian hindbrain that makes us relate to the idea of being pursued and getting away. So we get to go through these kind of cathartic simulator runs when we watch a movie, and we get to experience that heart-pounding fear of being chased.
It's a natural form of excitement. Editing can hone that, sharpen that. The tempo of the cuts, the variety of shots that are used, the changing image sizes of characters, reactions, eyes, all these things are in the palette. By manipulation and juxtaposition, you can increase the excitement.
This is the first thing in that I'm standing up, which allows me a considerable amount of freedom of movement, and it also means that I'm sprung, I guess is the only word for it. And frequently when I'm looking at the cut, I will stand here with my hand on the controls, almost like a gunslinger, and trying to hit the point of the cut with my knees bent. And somehow this is important for me because it allows me to internalize the rhythms, the visual rhythms of what's happening. At this point, we've started with a blank slate. So the question is, what are we going to start with? That looks like a good possibility. It establishes things. So there's Anthony saying action, and they start to come forward. We could begin it anywhere in here, but see, there now somebody falls right here, and that's good. Falling is good. We will edit this shot into the timeline. And there it is. In the end, there will be probably 5,000 shots in the film, and all of them have to be ultimately be the right shot in the right place for the right length of time.
When I was watching Nosferatu when I was a kid, our main guy is up in the castle and night has fallen and we're very suspicious something's about to happen, and we see Nosferatu down the hall. That section is what scared me the most, and in terms of editing, it caught my attention because of this. We saw this vampire with pointy teeth and scary eyes very far away down a hallway. And then we cut to our guy, and he's very scared. And we cut back, he's 6 feet away from us. He's just on the other side of the door. And every time I saw it, I was very, very scared. And I remember waiting for that moment of being surprised.
When people come into a theater, they're already keenly aware of their own fears. It's like, let's gather around the campfire and listen to the shaman talk. The screen being the fire. We'll sit in a circle, we'll be in the darkness, we'll be in a dreamlike state, we'll be connected to strangers in a way that we're normally not in the rest of our culture, and we'll feel things in unison. Well, the opening sequence of Scream is almost a film in itself. It is kind of whacking the audience upside the head in 15 minutes, where you introduce a character, develop her, endear her to the audience, and then kill her unexpectedly. That's a matter of yourself and your editor sitting there and thinking, what is that audience, that phantom audience that you're imagining in your mind thinking? It's all judgment calls. It's all about rhythm. It's all about getting that part of it right so that there's no moment where they feel quite easy, no moment where they feel they can know exactly what's coming next. Hitchcock was one of the first directors I was aware of as a kid. When Psycho came out, it caused a buzz in the neighborhood among the parents. And I remember my mother saying, "Oh, it's this horrible old man, he makes these horrible movies." I just said, "Really?" But it was a sense of the totally forbidden and somebody who had crossed the line. So later when I saw his films, there was a kind of delight of seeing this kind of savage wit, if you will, that beneath the, in Hitchcock's case, especially the very urbane, sophisticated, civilized veneer was this kind of feral, quick animal that knew exactly where the jugular was and kind of delighted in the taste of the blood.
Hitchcock was the master of suspense. Jonathan Demme was devoted to Hitchcock, and his influence can clearly be seen in Silence of the Lambs. Suspense is really an expression of fear. We can build that in our storytelling by withholding information. Frankly, it's a manipulation. But in using that manipulation, it also empowers the story. Not knowing where we're going to go next is the thing that human beings hate the most. We would all like to know where we're going, if it's going to be all right. My editing process is an intuitive process. It's what feels truthful, it's what feels strong, and it's what works. You hear this from a lot of editors. I mean, Dee Dee Allen always used to say to me, I cut with my gut, and she's right.